Hey you guys, I'm Chef D-Max. Welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're going to do a simple salad. I'm going to show you how to make a nice fall salad with some spinach, some pears, some walnuts, a little bit of burrata cheese. So it's really nice. Stay with me. Click subscribe if you're not doing that. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video and ring that bell and I'll send you new stuff coming up. See you back in a second. Okay guys, super simple recipe today. I'm taking some beautiful spinach here. You can see I've got just some nice healthy baby style. It's not really baby, but it's kind of a middle spinach. But you can use anything. Baby arugula would be nice. Mixed greens. You could use chopped romaine if you wanted. I just think spinach has a nice flavor. I love kind of spinach as we get into the winter months too. Comes a little heartier and a little crisper, so it'll get even crisper than that. And then I use a nice French like Anjou style pear. Let it get ripened out at room temperature, and then I'm just going to cut around the outsides of it like this, right? I have to taste it. Something about these pears. Oh, French Anjou are my favorite. Okay, now how do we shape it? Well, you can shape it in like slices. I want to make this kind of salad kind of semi-easy to eat, but also chunky. So I'm going to cut those in half lengthwise, and then I'm going to come back and cut them into slices that are like a little shorter, so you can kind of fit them in your mouth without having to have a knife, right? So I do that. I do this like just like that, and we get a simple pear ready to go. And that pear goes right into my salad. Now this one pear like this salad could be for 2 people for an appetizer, or 1 person for really an entree. Now this is fennel. Now if you don't like fennel, you can skip the fennel, but I really like it this time of year. When I cut the fennel in half, which I've done already because I already marinated it a little bit, and I'm going to show you how I do that, is we cut this bulb out. The way we do is we cut it in half, and then I cut it down at an angle like this. And you see how this just pops out like this? See that? Super easy, right? I'm just going to pluck this out, okay? And then I cut it in half like this. And then once I cut it in half, then I sit it still and on a flat side. That way it doesn't roll around, right? This is why you do that. You want it to stay still, and you just kind of cut it thin. Now, once you've cut it thin enough where it's kind of hard to kind of cut it thin again, then you flop it down again that way. And then you keep cutting it thin again. That, because it's smaller, I can actually rock the knife like that. But then I've got my beautiful fennel here like this. So I basically cut this like this. As thin as you can get it. Now, if you have a mandolin, it's easy to like do your little plastic mandolin and cut it like that. But you can do this with your hands. So if you don't have good knife skills, then just use the mandolin. Those little Japanese mandolins are cheap, and you guys have seen me on my videos. We use them before. Those work perfect. Now what I've done already, because I want to eat this right now and try it, I've already done that. I've shaved these fennel strands. You can see this, right? I've shaved those, and I've put 1 lemon, the juice of 1 lemon, and a pinch of salt, okay? And what that does is the salt draws the water out of the fennel, and it softens it, and the lemon does that as well, as it also pickles it a little bit, gives it a little bit of acidity. Fennel is really beautiful flavor when you treat it simply like this, okay? So I'm going to put about an equal amount of pears to my fennel. Now, I don't want to put all that lemon juice in there, so I'm just going to put this other stuff that I sliced, right? Because I only needed really a half of a fennel. But fennel this time of year too, you'll notice it's cheaper in the store. So this is when you want to buy it. So what I do is I take it and I just put it in that lemon juice that's here, and I'll add a little bit more salt to it because I put new in, right? like a little teaspoon. You can re-salt it later when we salt this dish. We don't want to over-salt it at this point. We just want enough salt so the fennel loses its water like that and kind of marinates and pickles a bit. So this fennel you could keep like this for a long time too. You could put this in a mason jar and put it in your fridge. It'll last, it'll last weeks like that. Okay. Now, I've got nice tomato here. I want to wash this really quick. Always wash your vegetables really good. I didn't wash that ahead of time, so I want to make sure I do that. So with this, I'm just going to kind of quarter these now. I've got some nice tomatoes, and I'm just going to stick those around in my bowl. So let me pull my bowl up here, and I'll show it to you guys, okay? So we'll do this. I'm going to stick my tomatoes in the bowl like this, okay? And voila, beautiful. Now, with those, I like to put salt right on top of them. Tomatoes and salt, they have to be together. Otherwise, the tomato's not as good. You put a little tomato on salt, or you put a little salt on tomato, and it's beautiful, okay? As well as I put a little extra virgin olive oil. That way when people are eating the salad, they really get that flavor right off the bat. Now, what I'm going to do next is I have some dried cherries here, sour cherries. These are from Michigan. A friend of mine up in Michigan sends these to me all the time, so I appreciate that. And I'm going to put a little bit of balsamic on those. Now, normally, I would let that steep in the balsamic, in those sweet and sour dried cherries. And if you do that, you can put them in a little container and put them in your fridge, and you can use them for lots of things. They're good for salads. You could take that balsamic and the cherries, and you could put that with some drippings from cooking a pork chop and add some butter to it and make like a little cherry sauce for the pork chop. So it's super simple to do a lot of different things once you have that pickle. I also have here, while that's slightly pickling a little bit, I have some walnuts. Now, the walnuts are just walnut halves and pieces. That these have been candied a little bit. So the recipe for this is simple. You take a tablespoon of butter and you put it in a pan and melt it, and you put the walnuts in there, and then you just sprinkle the top with a little bit of, kind of a teaspoon of white sugar, or a tablespoon of white sugar and a teaspoon of cinnamon, and I put just a little dash of cayenne. So you get spicy, sweet, and the cinnamon gives you that holiday-like flavor. And butter and sugar. Hear that crunch? Become super candy-like. So with that, I'm going to put a nice fistful of that in there. That's going to give me this beautiful kind of nutty but sweet flavor to that, okay? And then I don't want to put all this balsamic vinegar in there, so I'm just going to take these cherries like this, and after they've been marinated, and like I said, if you marinate those overnight, it's better, but you don't have to do that. Sometimes eating a dried cherry or dried fruit in a salad has a texture to it that adds to the salad as well. So that's fine. Okay, now, last I've got beautiful balsamic vinegar with basil that I've made. You can click up here to get that video. It's super simple. And then that small recipe makes one of these, and this is perfect for my salad here. So with this, I'm going to take probably one big tablespoon, maybe a tablespoon and a half. I'll do two of these. And that's beautiful. The beautiful basil with a little bit of honey that's in that goes really good with this dish. In addition to that, the extra virgin olive oil and the balsamic that are in there is really flavorful. So I'm going to toss this for a second, let it start to wilt down the spinach leaves a little bit. Now, arugula is good with this too if you like arugula, because arugula is spicy. So it gives you like another little spicy element to this. Okay. So what I do now is, because spinach isn't spicy, I'm going to add a little pepper, which I'm putting in here. And then I'm going to put another little sprinkling of fresh salt. for my lettuce greens, right? And I'm going to go ahead and continue to bathe that around in this dressing, okay? You can see it's nice and dressed, but not overly dressed. We don't want it wet. We still want it nice and healthy, right? And then I'm just going to stick this in the center of my dish with nice spinach. I'll stack this up, okay? Just like this, okay? With my tomatoes cruising around on the outside. And then a little bit more of my pears. Now, with this, I'm going to take my burrata, cut it in half, and take that and put the burrata like right in the center, like this. So a whole burrata really will work for 2 people, right? And then I'll put a little salt on that, and a little pink salt, and a little bit of olive oil, and a little bit of cracked pepper, like that. Okay, so you have beautiful burrata. And then I'll finish it with a couple cherries and walnuts on top. Just add a little bit of extra crunch, like that. And bam, we have an amazing salad there. Okay? So, let's take a look at this. Cherry tomatoes, already dressed. We make sure that we dress them ahead. So if they didn't get the dressing on there, they at least have salt, extra virgin olive oil. That's what we want. Okay? Then we have the beautiful salad with spinach, Anjou pears, walnuts, fennel. We've got these beautiful cherries, sour cherries from the end of summer in Michigan, and then this nice spinach salad. Okay? And we're going to try it out. See what it tastes like. So I take a little bit of my burrata and a little spinach. So it tastes so healthy, even though you're eating this creamy cheese. You know, the beautiful leafiness of the spinach and that earthiness, and the fresh tomato, and the cherry gives you that sweet, and the walnut. It's all about the balance of these flavors that make this kind of a salad so good. And these are the kind of salads you would get in a restaurant when you go out and you're like, why can't I make this at home? You can make it at home. You saw how simple that was, right? So try it at home. Give me a thumbs up if you like this, and I'll see you back in the kitchen soon. I'm Chef Dean Max.